This week, Mary Felter continues her series, The Future is Now, Are You Ready?, to talk about the need to have a will prepared. She promises the discussion is lively, so let's see. Mary?
Thank you, Carla. Today I'm welcoming Lauren Parker, who is the 28th Register of Wills in Anne Arundel County. We're delighted to have you on the program.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
I want to tell our viewers a little bit about you. You're a graduate of the former Andover High School, and you got your law degree from the University of Baltimore, and you live in Pasadena with your husband and your son. So you're part of the general population of Anne Arundel County.
Yes.
You've also had a law practice and been a manager at a law practice, and then you ran for Register of Wills.
Yes, my second time around now. And I'm glad I had the first career because it gave me the time to acquire the skills to do the job of Register of Wills and fulfill the responsibilities of the position.
Yeah, I know it's very challenging. We've been through some deaths in our family. We know what you have to do to get material to you after a death of a loved one. And I understand you're going to be our speaker at one of our workshops the Department of Aging is doing. It's called The Future is Now, Are You Ready? And you're doing the part on after the death of a loved one.
Yes, we see lots of people coming in and they're absolutely shocked at the death of their loved one. And of course, they're really not equipped because they just never put any thought into gathering the necessary documents or even looking at anything before the death. So we're trying to get everybody to prepare and to have a little bit of knowledge before they ever have to face this situation.
One of the first things they have to do is bring you a will.
Yes, we would love to have the will. In fact, we'd like to have the will before you ever even get anywhere near needing it. Now, this is a great service that we offer. One-time fee, $5. We lock it up in a vault just like a bank vault. Your bank is going to charge you $35 a year for the smallest safe deposit box they have. We are a one-time fee during your lifetime. You can come and get it if you're moving. You can change it out if you need to. It's private. No one gets into that will except for you. We have you put it in an envelope, mark it with your name, give us your address, give us some other additional information so that we can retrieve it and make sure that it is you. And we lock it down and lock it away. And we keep it for approximately 90 years. If no one comes to claim it, we're going to have it approximately 90 years from the time that you bring it in. So there's consistency. And we would prefer to have them rather than you leave it at your attorney's.
And the will really helps you because it tells how you want your property to be dispersed when you have passed.
Yes, because we are looking for everybody to have a will, even if it's just something very simple. But the reason for this is to save your family from having arguments. Everybody has an opinion about what mom or dad wanted. We want you to have it your way, not the way the legislature says you're supposed to have it. See, the legislature's rules are only there in case you forgot to write one. Well, they're not always equipped to know what's right for your family. They just did a broad overview thinking, well, this will do in a jam. Anne Arundel County, it doesn't just have Ozzie and Harriet. We have people that have had 2 and 3 marriages, 2 and 3 sets of children. They have a second or third spouse at the moment, and they have children by other marriages. If you don't have a will and a set of rules for everybody to abide by, that is an argument waiting to happen.
Absolutely. I understand one time you told me there are cat fights.
Oh, yes. We have had cat fights in the office with people standing and, nose to nose, yelling at each other. And that's just not the way to have your family have to end your life. Okay,
I think it must be not very funny to have to realize that the state will write you a will, essentially, is what you're saying.
Right. I mean, you have people down in the legislature that came up with this plan years and years ago, and all kinds of things can happen.
And I think people don't realize what sort of documents they have to have afterwards. I mean, mortgage statements and bank statements, and what are some of those things?
We are looking for things. You have something that's called an inventory that you're going to have to do for us. And this is so that we see everything that's out there and we make sure it gets distributed to the appropriate person or it gets managed in the right way. Because obviously there's usually more than one person involved in inheritances. So you're going to need everything from the first thing being a death certificate, because I don't accept your word. I can't. I've had too many people come in and say, oh, well, so-and-so's not here, and we find out later, yes, they are. So, no, we want The death certificate, I want to see the funeral bill so I can give somebody credit for that or get them reimbursed. We want to see a list of assets and proof of those assets, titles to cars, titles to property, titles to boats, CDs, bank accounts, stocks, bonds, portfolios from whatever brokerage you had, insurance policies in case they were not left to a beneficiary. We're trying to gather all of this up and get it on an inventory somewhere so we can help keep track of it.
How
And
about
also,
marriage certificates
yes,
or divorce?
Yes, because we have that
decrees or-
issue come up a lot of times. We have had situations where someone's ex-spouse walks in and says, well, you know, I think I'm entitled. And of course, while they may not have had a full divorce, so they're not really quite an ex-spouse yet, there is a separation agreement somewhere that says, no, we already signed this and everybody has signed off their rights to be doing anything with the estate. Because a lot of people don't realize they've signed that right away under a separation agreement, or that they don't have the right, when they're divorced, to walk up and act. Just because you have minor children left between the two of you doesn't mean you're going to be on your ex-spouse's estate.
Lauren, about how long does it take before an estate is closed usually? What's the average?
Well, it depends. I mean, we have some estates that walk in and it's something like a small $50 refund check from a tax return. I call those my $2 estates. We open it and close it in the same day. Those are so small. But the average estate, a regular estate, is going to average out 6 months to 9 months. One of my jokes is it took you 9 months to get here, it's going to take you 9 months to leave with a regular estate. 6 months just because you have to give notice to the creditors. And that's why we have ads in the Gazette and the Capitol. That's, you know, we advertise at least between 1 and 3 times depending on the size of the estate. And to give notice to creditors to come forward if there are any. And we give them 6 months. But normally with all the paperwork that has to be done and sales of property, 9 months is generally what I consider to be a minimum on an estate, at least $30,000 or above.
I can see that people have a lot to be concerned about, so I know they're emotionally involved at this time. So having this workshop that we're scheduling up here soon on May 18th is probably a very good idea, and we want people to come to that. When again is the workshop and where?
It's May 18th. It's at the Arnold Senior Center. It's at 6:30 to 8:30, and it's free. I'm bringing paperwork and record organizers for people to follow along and give their family information, or at least hints as to where and what they have. You know, it has all kinds of things in it as to what you need to think about, particularly the unusual things, such as when people are dealing with the internet banking system, they're forgetting to leave us passwords. So all kinds of hints that we have discovered over the years working with people and trying to help them find the assets and actually recover them.
Well, what people will need to do now will be to register for this, and you can register for the workshop, which is free, as Lauren said, and you can do that by going onto the Department of Aging website, which is www.aacounty.org/aging, and scroll down to the workshop section, or you can give the department a call, and that number is 410-222-4464, and you ask for extension 3094. I want to make sure I gave you the right one. It's presented by the Department of Aging and Disabilities in conjunction with Home Helpers of the Greater Chesapeake and Maxim Healthcare Services. We're also grateful to Sandy Spring Bank for participating. They're going to provide the Vital Documents folder so that when you come to the workshop, you can pick up the folder, which is expandable, and you can start putting in some of the documents that are very, very important for this particular situation. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on the program today and letting people know that you're going to be presenting this, what happens after a loved one dies. And we thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here.
This is Mary Felter, Public Information Officer for the Anne Arundel County Department of Aging and Disabilities for Anne Arundel County Week in Review. Back to you, Carla.
Thanks, Mary. We joke that it's a morbid subject, but these are important tips to know.